When I was growing up, I remember being, I don't know, probably about 18, 19, and my dad telling me, you give your men too much freedom. Ends, because, he was like that, he would just use all kind of profanity. That's where I learned it from. Ends don't know what to do with all that freedom. You give your men too much freedom, they just gonna have problems with it. They're not gonna feel wanted and like you really into them and blah blah blah. And I remember sitting there looking at them thinking, that's because I'm not. I just like, I mean, it's cool if they here and it's cool if they not. I just never really got ever that wrapped up in any man. And that's the thing that I think is different from a lot of women. Yeah, I love them, but I will always love myself more. Always. It will just never ever be a contest of who takes top bidding, top billing, gets to, number one place. It's always going to be me. Now, some people say, well, that makes you a narcissist. Oh, well, kiss my ass. I could give less than a fuck. But it's like, if that's what it takes, then call me that until your lips fall off. I don't care. But it's the kind of thing like, I would love a good dude, but I'm never, ever, ever going to put his needs and what he wants, not his needs, what he wants and what he likes and what he prefers and what he thinks and what he, anything else over what I do. Because then that means I'm prioritizing him over myself, and I refuse to do that. So what we have is, well, let me just give you the backstory. So earlier today, I was having a very interesting conversation with this guy, right? And we met for drinks. This is a dude I've, I don't know, we never really dated, but it was somebody who I thought was interesting. So I, kind of kept him in my circle. So he's like, yeah, why don't we come out, let's have a drink. That's why I'm kind of like looking like this because I had some alcohol. But he, we got to talking. I said, well, tell me, what happened with your last girlfriend, your baby mama. How did you happen to, have a kid with her and then you guys broke up? I mean, what was going on? He is an excellent father. Let me get that out straight. He takes wonderful care of his child, teaches him all kind of valuable lessons. There's nothing like that. But I was like, what is it that you think was the problem? Why did you guys split up? And what's going on? He said, well, I'll never ever get myself in a position where I feel trapped again. And it kind of made me think about something, because when I was very young, and I'm talking about diapers, before I could even really talk and all that, my mother and father used to tell me how I was as a baby. So you know how most babies, they do this, they want you to pick them up and all that stuff. I never did that. They said I would let them hold me for a little while, and then I would, want to scramble to get down. And I'd, crawl off and be by myself and playing with whatever I was playing with and be very happy doing that thing. I'm like that to this day. And so it kind of, it made me, once they told me that, I was probably about, I don't know, 25, 26 when they told me that. It's like all the lights came on. It's like, no wonder I'm like that. No wonder I can deal with people for a little while, and then after that I want to go off and do my own thing. I don't really want to be bothered to that extent. And of course, in a relationship, that causes problems. And so most people end up in a situation where they're either going to feel trapped in their relationship or they're going to feel abandoned in their relationship. I'm kind of in the middle. Now, I might cause other people to feel those things, but I don't feel those myself. So I wanted to talk about these three types of people that you're likely to run into in a relationship and how you should deal with each one. That's basically the long roundabout way I'm getting to this story. Okay, so let's say you're a person who you meet someone rather, and you really glob onto them. You really want to be tied to them, to be up under them, to have them petting you and touching you and being all over you all the time. Why do you do that? I can tell you. Because you feel like whatever you didn't get in childhood, you're trying to get now. Now, a lot of kids, they have parents who was on drugs or drunks or, too young and kind of really not really there, is understanding their role as a parent. So you have this hunger for acknowledgement, for attention, for affection, for love, and you seek to get it, that vacuum filled by the men that you bring into your life. So you just like suck the life out of guys. It's like those horror movies where somebody comes on and they like touch the person, and then they like, the person turns into like this shrunken, dark, like wrinkly thing because they sucked all the life out of them. That's what you do to people. And so your relationships, of course, don't really last because no one can really deal with that level of absorption of their energy for very long. And so they're going to end up, just kind of leaving you to basically they feel like they have to save themselves. So what happens? You feel abandoned when that's really not what happened. You just, the person was in fear of being totally absorbed by your neediness. So they had to leave you to save themselves. So, try to reframe that and understand what's at work here. It's not anything wrong with them. It's you. You have this need to like glob on people and suck the juice out of them because you want to fill up a vacuum and a hole in your soul that was left by from a childhood where you didn't get the kind of attention and affection that you really needed. It's important for parents to respond to children, especially their infants, to respond to their cries and their needs and to give them affection and time and attention. Talk to them, soothe them when they can't soothe themselves. If you have a parent who for whatever reason didn't do that, that's why you are the way that you are. So understand that. Stop blaming the man in your life for leaving you and understand that you need to get some couch time and deal with that. Okay? On the other hand, there are people who run from commitment. They run. Why do they run? Most of the time because they had a childhood where their parent was too involved in their life, too all-consuming, like micromanaging their every fucking movement. The kid never got a moment's peace. So when you have a parent like that, and we call them helicopter parents, they create children who really struggle with bonding because they're afraid that, again, that they're going to be absorbed by this neediness of the parent instead of, by themselves. So they're looking at, I need to like separate myself from this individual. I need to have space and time and to think my own thoughts, and I can't get too close because they're gonna want to, just like take me over like my mother or father or mother and father did. You see what I'm saying? So these people, like every second of their life was scheduled. Their parents just smothered the fuck out of them. They never got to do anything on their own. They never got to make any decisions on their own. Never got to do anything by themselves. Their parents were always fucking there. Some of these people's parents even took the doors off the hinges so they could have immediate access to the kids. Kids never had a moment of privacy, never had a moment of peace. So if you have a person like that whose parent was like suffocating, they're going to want to run away from you. But it's not because of really anything that you did. It's because the feelings of being close triggered those memories where they felt they got terrified that they were going to be absorbed into their parent. I know this sounds really weird, but if you really think about it, those are the two extremes in how people usually respond. Whatever happened in childhood, they tend to bring it into their adulthood and do the opposite, okay? Because it's very rare that you meet somebody who was absorbed by their parent and they want to keep being absorbed by the new person. Not to say it doesn't happen, but I'm just saying that's kind of that's a rarity. Okay, then you have people like me. And there are a lot of us. We're kind of loners. We enjoy other people. It's not to say that we don't want to be with other people ever, but it's in measured doses. One of the best explanations that I read of this was a woman, I read it in a magazine or some kind of journal or something. But anyway, this lady, she was dating a guy and he wanted to marry her, right? And she's like, oh no, I can't live in a house with you. I can't, we can't do that. So this dude evidently was a man of means. So he went out and he bought some land, right? He built 2 identical houses, like mirror images of each other on the property. And he set up one house for himself and the other house for her. So basically, she got to have her own house, yet they were married. So they would get together, they would have meals together, They would do the nasty, whatever, and then they would each go back to their own house. That worked for her. So he was able to have the woman that he loved with him, but on her terms. She had to have her separate space. And I'm like that myself. So it's not like I don't understand when people say, they're feeling suffocated. I totally understand. I get it. So, but it's very hard for other people to understand that it doesn't mean that we don't love you. It doesn't mean that we don't care about you. It doesn't mean that we don't want to talk to you. It doesn't mean that we don't want to be with you. It just means we don't want to do all them things all the time, and probably not when you want them. It has to be when we want them, when we have our need for separateness and aloneness, and those needs that we must have for our own psychological peace of mind. When those needs have been met, then we will seek you out. And that's really hard for people to understand. They think there's something wrong. That's why I said there's really three types. Most psychologists really point to, the commitment phobic and the person who is like, so weak that they glob on. They forget about the person in the middle. And that's why I wanted to make this video to kind of explain that, you ladies have to think about which type of guy you have. Look at his innate nature. This follows along with the video the last one I did on acceptance. You have to accept that this is what you have. Can you work with it? Can this work for you? If the answer is no, then you know that this person is not for you. I've had plenty of guys tell me that, they can't really deal with a woman like me. They want a woman who's, more there for them, like 24/7. I can't be that woman. I'm not going to be calling you. I'm not going to be chasing you down. I don't want to look at your fucking face every goddamn day. I want you to have your own space, your own hobbies, your own interests, and your own friends. Do your own thing so that when we get together, we have something to talk about. We have something to share. It's exciting. I don't want to see anybody every day, and that's why I have not remarried. I just don't really, I have no interest in that. I like to be by myself. So I just wanted to take a few minutes to kind of explain this, to give you guys something to think about. You can feel abandoned, or you can feel suffocated, or you can feel, kind of in the middle, where you just want to do your own thing. You don't feel abandoned or suffocated because you don't need that, that closeness, and nor do you want, did that kind of parental aloofness bother you. That was really right down your alley. So there is that person in the middle, and that doesn't mean that they don't love you. They're just going to love you in a different, really loose, open-handed way where they don't grab you. Now, a lot of people that makes them feel very insecure. You have to understand yourself, and then you have to find the love that's going to work for you. And I keep stressing that that's the number one thing. Understand yourself, and then find the person that is going to match you in the way that you are. Deb Cooper from survivingdating.com, signing out. Now that you've seen some of the grade A content that the Debsterism channel offers, please become a subscriber. Just click the subscribe button down below. Then you'll see a little bell. Click that after, and then you'll be able to get notifications sent directly to your cell phone of when I post new content. You can be one of the very first people to review the new videos, like them, comment them on them, and share them. We'd like you to do all of those things to help the channel grow. I appreciate your support, so become a subscriber. Tell your friends.